All right, people, we're 2 weeks away from Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk, and I, for one, listen, I love this time of year. I don't like the dark evenings, but I love this time of year, and knowing we have what may turn out to be one of the fights of the year, because the first fight was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I think this fight might be even better. Knowing that we're a fortnight, well, at the time we're recording this, it's 5 minutes past 11 on Saturday, the 7th of December. So we're roughly a fortnight away. It might actually be fight time this time 2 weeks at this particular time. So I'm really looking for, I can't wait. I have a lot of videos planned this week. I have a couple of film studies planned. So I'm very fortunate to be in a situation where I can use a lot of footage. I can use footage as much as I want, really. So I've got a lot of film studies, reviews of moments in the last fight, 3 reasons why, such and such wins, stuff like that. I would like those videos. I have them in the pipeline. So there's a lot of work that's going to be done over the coming days and weeks in the build up to this fight. Ultimately, we got to give a pick about this fight, and I will give my prediction probably fight week, maybe the Sunday or the Monday of fight week. And I'll be actually here. I'll be back in Dublin I'll actually be back in Dublin until the new year from next Friday onwards. So we've got a lot of good stuff planned, and I'm really looking forward to this fight. But the kind of thing that a lot of people are asking is, what is Tyson Fury going to do different? Is he going to switch style up? Is he going to change things, etc., etc., etc.? One thing that I noticed, certainly from the zone face-off that they did, now you got to bear in mind, when they filmed the respective face-offs, whether it was TNT or whether it was the zone, they did that, and you could see with what Alexander Usyk was wearing, the Agent 47 attire, you could see that was either just before or just after they did their kickoff press conference, which I think happened the end of October, I think it was. I know I was in London. I wasn't long moved to London when they did that kickoff press conference. So it was around about October time. Now, Frank Warren was saying, words to the effect of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, why mess around with the weight, etc., etc. Contradictory to that, Spencer Brown, who was the manager of Fury, was saying, we're going to come in heavier. And I tend to side with Spencer Brown, because when I see Tyson Fury in some of his more recent images, when I seen him at the Joshua Dubois fight, when I seen him, even recently when you see him in Malta, stuff like that, Malta I should say, he doesn't look, Tyson Fury is never going to be chiseled, so he's never going to look like an Adonis, put it like that. But does he look heavier than he was? Yeah, he definitely does. I wonder what weight he will weigh in at. Now, IFL are reporting that Tyson Fury is set to weigh around the 273 pound mark for his high anticipated rematch with Alexander Usyk. This is according to Garrett A. Davis. Got to take that off Joe Stunner, but we can all trust Garrett A. Davis. There's nearly a stone heavier than what he was for the first fight, and around the same weight he was when he stopped Wilder in the second fight. So IFL are asking, is that a good move for Tyson Fury? Now, I would say 273, thereabouts, more so if it's on the latter half, not the upper half of 273. I would actually say it's not a bad weight. Tyson Fury, in that first Alexander Usyk fight, he was the lightest he'd been in 5 years. And a lot of people, Simon Jordan, who else was it, Dominic Ingle, were trying to come with this absurd narrative that, Fury underprepared, he didn't take it serious. So you're telling me that a guy who in the fight prior to that against Francis Ngannou, a fight he really didn't take serious, came in at, I don't think it was a career heaviest, might not have been, but it was close to it, and he looked horrible in that fight. So you're telling me that a guy who didn't take the biggest fight of his career serious would lose well over a stone, would come in the lightest he's been since 2019. You're telling me that guy didn't train properly. Get the F out of here. What you could argue, and if you argue this point, I'd say it has more legs to stand on, that Tyson Fury may potentially overtrained. Now, that I could certainly see the possibility of that he, because you got to remember, in the run up to the Alexander Usyk fight, they kept mentioning the Klitschko fight. He's going to be as light as he was for that fight. He's going to move like the Klitschko fight. He needs to channel the Klitschko. And I said at the time, and I've said it several times, that there's no point looking at the Klitschko fight and saying that's who we need to be, because Alexander Usyk, the only thing he has in common with Vladimir Klitschko is they're both from Ukraine. Other than that, it's completely different mentality, psychologically, different dimensions. They're just different altogether. Alexander Usyk is just, he won't let his head get boxed off. As he says, I will not leave you alone. No point even like comparing them. It's no comparison. So to try and do what you did against Klitschko to Alexander Usyk, it's just not going to work. And it didn't work. You could tell that was what they were trying to do in the fight. It wasn't working. He had moments, Tyson Fury, where he had success, but they were few and far between. And while I was doing the film study, because I was doing a lot of work on it today, I was listening and watching back the rounds Tyson Fury was having success in. And Darren Barker very smartly actually pointed out that although Tyson Fury, even in the rounds he was doing the good work in, like round number 4, he's having to work very hard because Alexander Usyk isn't just letting himself be outboxed. He was getting outboxed, he was getting hit, but he was still coming forward. He was still making Tyson Fury work. He was still making him move. He was still making him work more than he actually wanted to work, which ultimately did drain him, right? So Team Fury are obviously looking at that and thinking, okay, you were too light, maybe didn't have the stamina, etc., so come in heavy. Now, again, if he comes in the high 260s, low 270s, that might benefit him because I think that he may be able to retain some more of the stamina. So if he is able to pick up from where he left off in rounds 4, 5, and 6, his best rounds, he may be able to maintain that. His punches may have a little bit more snap on it. He may be able to do a little bit more. If he comes in heavier than that, which a lot of people are saying he does look like that, it looks like he could come in maybe in the 280s, well then I think that it's an uphill battle. Because Tyson Fury needs to change the game plan up. He really does. He needs the pressure. Because again, when I'm watching that fight back, Tyson Fury, he's standing his ground a lot more. I know he's boxing with Alexander Usyk in those 3 rounds he had success in, but he is standing his ground. He is coming forward at times. He is, letting big shots go. He's sitting down on shots, and Alexander Usyk is having to really think. Now, if he does that and does it maybe off the jab, like kind of a bit like what he did against Deontay Wilder in the rematch, front foot jab, letting that kind of, blind the opponent and then, letting your big shots go, have a lot of success against Alexander Usyk. You genuinely could, especially with the uppercut, because he was throwing the uppercut straight, which you shouldn't really do. If he can set that uppercut up, he's going to have a lot more success. If he's 280 and he's trying to do that, or if he's the very high 270s, a variety of things are going to go wrong. One, you're not going to have the stamina to be able to do that. If you thought Gasson in the first fight was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. He's going to be slower. He's going to present the bigger target, right? The punching power might not even improve with it. Because although heavyweights don't have to make weight, there is a finite weight that you fight. There's an optimum weight. And, it could be for some fighters, it could have, 10 pounds where you're in that little optimum bracket. So if you're, say, like 220 to 230, as long as you're in that, it's optimum. Some may have a slightly wider window. Some may have a shorter window. But you will go over a point where it's just like, it's not a benefit, it's just now a hindrance. And if it's 280, 278, 277, it's a hindrance at that point, in my opinion, for Tyson Fury. Now, IFL in this are saying this is from Garrett A. Davis. Now, Garrett A. Davis is someone who you take what he says with a grain of salt, to say the least. I'd say that guy wishes he was Paris Fury. This is a guy who was harping on never ending about how great camp was going for Tyson Fury, how everything was perfect, this, that, and the other. He had insides in the camp, and he was singing it to the hills. And Andy Lee reveals then that no, actually camp was terrible. Not terrible, but he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. Yeah, pretty contradictory to what Garrett A. Davis was saying. So if Garrett A. Davis is saying that Tyson Fury is going to come in 270s, I mean, God knows what he may actually come in at. So that's a bit of a worry if you're a Fury fan. Garrett A. Davis, when it comes to Fury, if he says he's looking good, panic. That's what I will say. So 273 is what Garrett A. Davis and IFL are saying he may come in at. Again, for me, that's not a bad weight. If you weighed in that, I wouldn't worry too much. If you weighed in 280 or above, again, Fury fanboys, they'll just say Fury is perfect no matter what he does. Nah, people, if he weighs in 280s, worry. So again, that's the interesting thing, because I think with Usyk, when Michael Buffer read that weight wrong at the first fight, when Michael Buffer mistakenly said he was 232 or something like that, our heads were just like spinning. We were all like, what the hell? And then it emerged that no, actually, he didn't weigh in any heavier. He was the same as always. If Usyk weighs in heavier, worry. If Tyson Fury weighs in significantly heavier, worry again. Because you cannot box a back foot game any better than you did the first time if you're the better part of a stone or, God forbid, 2 stone heavier. It's just not going to work. You're going to be slower. Your gas tank is going to be depleted faster. Your arms, because Fury, if you see in the first fight, he's holding his arm out. He's just like pawing with the jab and holding his arm out, which again, film study on that. You're not going to be able to do that to the same extent, because even carrying that frame, your arm is going to be dropping a lot more. That's why you see someone like Anthony Joshua. You know, whenever he packed on weight, you'd see his hands would just drop and drop and drop. I know he's got more muscle there, but you get what I mean. They're just going to drop. So if he packs on more weight, if he plans on doing the same thing, which is box on the back foot, I was almost swore there, but yeah, he's done. He's done if he plans on doing that. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think a good weight for Tyson Fury would be? Leave it in the comments. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Subscribe, of course. As always, if you haven't already. And until next time, people, peace.